Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. We have WWE Roadblock, End of the Line, this coming Sunday, live on the WWE Network. NoDQ.com, of course, will have you covered. Got your questions from twitter.com/AaronRift with the hashtag PAIV. First one today comes from the Kevin Owens Show, at Broken Vinnie Mac. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on KO insulting a kid at a live event? In my opinion, he's a heel and heels are supposed to piss off people, right? I agree 100%. I feel that the mother is definitely overreacting to this, and I'm hopeful that one day the kid will grow up and look back at this as a fond memory, getting yelled at by one of the top heels in WWE. I know when I was a kid, if The Undertaker had said something to me, or if Sid Vicious said something to me, Sid Justice, Sergeant Slaughter, if any of these guys yelled at me, looking back, I would be thrilled. I mean, that would be a highlight of my life, to have a top heel in character yell at me. So, to me, it's very much overreacting, because Kevin Owens is a television character. He was at a WWE live event playing the role of a bad guy, and that's what bad guys do. They yell at the fans. They do not sign autographs. They do not kiss babies. They trash talk. That's what they do. So the mother really needs to fill the kid in on what's going on, and that WWE is entertainment. It is a show, and these guys are playing characters, and not to take it personally. So, do I feel Kevin Owens crossed the line? Absolutely not. Imagine if this was 30 years ago, what somebody like Kevin Owens would have said to this kid. It would have been way worse. This one comes from at Brandon Side AS. If Sami Zayn loses to Braun Strowman at Roadblock, does this make the whole build-up completely meaningless? I think Braun Strowman will win the match. I mean, it's a matter of Sami Zayn surviving, and I suppose it could be a no contest, as I mentioned, but you could also have Braun Strowman win. So the question is, if Braun Strowman wins, let's say in 9 minutes and 50 seconds, right before the time limit runs out, I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose if it was done really well, maybe Sami Zayn would look strong in defeat, but I think it would be best just to let the 10 minutes go to the limit and have it be a draw. And of course, Strowman destroys Zayn for most of the match. But the big story is that Zayn survived the onslaught and lasted the 10 minutes. And people can come to their own conclusions. What if the match lasted a little bit longer? Would Zayn have survived? And that can be the big debate. But for this match, yeah, I think ideally it should go all the way, and I think it would probably hurt Zayn if he actually got beat. This one comes from DJ Witty. Yo Aaron, please answer in video. Why does Enzo take beatings week after week? Even in matches, it feels like he's Raw's version of James Ellsworth. That's what he does. I mean, Enzo is a guy that is going to make the bigger guys look strong. I mean, he's a small guy. And, you know, when you look at guys in the past like Rey Mysterio and Kalisto, these are smaller guys, and their job is to make the bigger guys look really impressive. So that's what Enzo's role is at this point. He's there to help elevate the bigger guys. I do feel that Enzo should be pushed stronger because, I mean, he is one of the most over characters in the company right now, and he's definitely a hot act. Enzo and Cass, they are a hot act, I will say that. So, yeah, I think it's kind of sad that Enzo is being a bit player in the storyline between Enzo and Rusev, but that's the way it is in the world of WWE, and unfortunately for Enzo, he doesn't have the size to get the really big push. I mean, he's getting there by being very charismatic and being a great talker, but that is holding him back, no question about it. But to say he's like Ellsworth, I mean, I don't think I would go that far to say he's Raw's version of Ellsworth. I mean, Ellsworth is clearly being portrayed as a joke, whereas in Enzo, he is just a guy who got set up, and yeah, he's going to be over his head against the bigger guys. If he's in there with somebody closer to his own size, it's going to be a competitive fight. But when he's in there against a monster, it's going to be tough for him. He's going to be the underdog. Got this one from Cameron. Can you name one superstar from the current Raw and SmackDown rosters that you think is highly overrated in the ring and on the mic? I'm not going to say highly overrated, but I will say, on the topic of Enzo and Cass, I will say I think Cass still needs to show me something. When he's out there without Enzo, it does seem like he's struggling. I mean, his promo abilities, they're okay. His in-ring work is fine, but there's just something missing. He's not quite there yet, and if the company is going to give him this big push, he really needs to show something. He needs to show that he is at a main event level, and if WWE just shoves him down people's throats, then they're going to risk another Roman Reigns situation with Big Cass. And I think that would be very bad for him. The problem is, Enzo, in my opinion, is the star of the team. He's the one that's really getting the team over with the catchphrases, and his charisma is just at a level of pretty much no one else in the company. Nobody can get to that level. I mean, maybe John Cena, maybe a few other guys, but Enzo's just unbelievable. And when Cass is out there with Enzo, he really shines. But when he's out there alone, it definitely shows Cass's weaknesses when he's out there without Enzo. I mean, I said this before, like, if you could somehow take Enzo's promo skills and charisma and put that in Big Cass's body, you'd have the next Steve Austin or the next Rock. You would have that next big mainstream superstar, even a John Cena. You would have that guy. But unfortunately, the world is not perfect, and each guy has what the other guy is missing. This one comes from Simon Lee. Why is it 205 live? That's stupid. And your thoughts on Harper main eventing? The whole situation this week was changed up because of Tribute to the Troops. 205 Live was taped on Monday before Raw, which actually did not seem to make that much of a difference in terms of the crowd reactions. I watched the 205 not live, and it seemed like the crowd was still dead for most of the show. So, I mean, that could be a sign that this cruiserweight division just isn't catching on. But yeah, that was the reason why it wasn't live this week. Next week, it'll be back to normal. As far as Harper main eventing, I thought it was cool. I mean, a lot of people are very high on Luke Harper. I mean, he's very good in the ring, and a lot of people think that he could shine in WWE as a top singles competitor if given the opportunity. So yeah, it was nice to see him get some of the spotlight and not just be a sidekick to Bray Wyatt or a sidekick to Randy Orton. He's actually getting to get an opportunity to compete for the WWE title. So I did like that. I thought that was well done, adding Harper into the mix on SmackDown. This one comes from Max B. Do you think that they should have gone with Corey Graves and Mauro Ranallo on SmackDown and let Cole be with JBL or the King on Raw and get rid of the others? That's a good question. I mean, I think you would have had one really strong SmackDown commentary team and then a bad Raw commentary team. What you have now is basically a decent Raw commentary team with a decent SmackDown commentary team, so it balances out. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, quite frankly, I'd like to see Ranallo and Corey Graves hosting Raw and get some fresh blood on SmackDown and introduce some new announcers, or maybe have Michael Cole on SmackDown, although SmackDown has been such a good show that I'm not sure I would want Michael Cole to spoil it. I mean, all jokes aside, I mean, Cole does a good job. He's just being the company guy, and as far as the rest of them go, yeah, I think if you get some new people in the mix, get rid of Saxton and David Otunga and JBL, then yeah, the commentary teams definitely would be better. I don't see WWE getting rid of Cole anytime soon. I think he'll be there as long as he wants to be. So unfortunately, I think people will have to put up with him. But the other guys, yeah, I think you could get rid of them and bring in some new people. Got this one here from Joshua Anderson. With Sheamus and Cesaro as the #1 contenders, when are the Revival going to be called up? I think they should beat the New Day. I agree with you 100%. I've talked about this on various videos over the past couple months. I feel Revival should be called up and they should be the ones to beat the New Day. New Day, yes, is getting stale as an act and as the tag team champions, but that does not mean that they should immediately lose the titles this Sunday at Roadblock now that they've broken the record. I mean, that would be an exact repeat of what happened with Nikki Bella, and I don't feel that Sheamus and Cesaro need to be winning the titles. I would rather see Revival come up and win the titles from New Day and establish Revival as an instant tag team to be reckoned with in WWE, a team that beat the longest reigning champions of all time. That would instantly establish them as something special. So, as much as I feel New Day is getting stale and they should lose the title soon, I do not think they should be losing at Roadblock. I would be disappointed if that happened. This next one comes from Andrew. How do you think American Alpha has been booked? Seems to me they are not getting any momentum. I agree with you. They have really cooled off since they have debuted on the main roster, and they should have been thrust right into the tag team title picture. WWE decided to go with the feel-good moment because Heath Slater had that momentum, and then WWE went with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, and they're hot right now. So unfortunately for American Alpha, they've just been in a situation where the timing hasn't worked out for them, and they've cooled off quite a bit. That's, all the more reason why, going back to that previous question, I think Revival should be getting the tag team titles right away when they debut. Instantly establish them. Don't screw up like what you did with American Alpha, because we see how highly praised American Alpha was in NXT. They seem to be hot, and then they come onto the main roster and they're just guys. I mean, they're really making no kind of significant impact. That is a sign that it's really important when you debut a team, you have to debut them strong, and they need to stay strong. And if you don't do that, the team can very easily get lost in the shuffle. Even if they got rave reviews in NXT, it can still affect them if they're not booked properly on the main roster. So yeah, hopefully American Alpha will be the team to beat Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, and you can build up American Alpha and maybe salvage them on the main roster. I'm hoping that at least. This one comes from Mr. Yuck. Good as they are together, does Jason Jordan seemingly have the potential to stand out main event on his own? I'm not sure. I mean, I think right now it would be a bad idea. I think that this team would need to succeed as a tag team and do really well before you consider breaking them up. I mean, if you break up a cold tag team, I'm not sure they'll get hot being on their own, especially when there's so much competition. In the singles division, you have all these other guys that are being booked as top stars, whether it's AJ Styles or Dean Ambrose or John Cena or even The Miz. Maybe Jordan could go for the U.S. title, but then what would you do with Gable? So it's a tricky situation because I think they're better off right now as a team. I think they would get lost in the shuffle even more if they broke up, at least right now. Let them dominate the tag team division before you consider breaking them up. That's just my opinion on it. This one comes from Daniel Lynch. Hey Aaron, what's the deal here? When Vince dies, who gets the company? Stephanie McMahon and Triple H or Shane McMahon? Right now it's Stephanie and Triple H. They're the ones that have the power in WWE. Shane McMahon, you have to keep in mind, Shane McMahon is merely an on-screen talent at this point. He does not have any significant power in WWE. There was this report that came out this past week about Shane trying to take over the creative team in WWE in 2012, and that did not work out. He lost that power play. Stephanie and Triple H, they've been there for all these years now, and they're the ones that are going to inherit the throne when Vince dies. Shane is basically on the outs. Could things change? You never know. Never say never. Things could change, but right now, Shane is just there as an on-screen talent. It's Triple H and Stephanie that are right underneath Vince right now running the company. This one comes from Wreck-It Rudolph. Hey Aaron, do you think Mr. Kennedy could have gotten over as a babyface during his brief return? I'm assuming you're talking about 2009 when he came back after doing the movie. I'm not sure. I mean, by that point, Kennedy had been off television, on television. His push was started, his push was stopped, he was suspended, he returned, he got injured, he returned. By that point, I'm not sure if he would have really succeeded as a babyface. Now, looking at TNA, when Kennedy went to TNA and became Mr. Anderson, he was doing well as the babyface with the whole a-hole routine. But then again, it's TNA, and who knows if he would have had success as a babyface in WWE. It's really hard to say if he had not gotten released after that Randy Orton incident. I'm not sure if he would have been a top-tier babyface. Maybe he would have been a successful mid-card babyface, but I don't think he would have been one of the top guys. Alright, so that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it with a friend on Facebook or Twitter. Tell a friend about NoDQ&A video. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the latest regarding Roadblock, End of the Line. Check out the predictions video I did with Jeff Meacham and David Payne. Also, check out Jeff's video where he discussed the current state of WWE heading into 2017, a 30-plus minute video from Jeff. Check that out and keep voting in the 2016 NoDQ.com year-end awards. You can go to NoDQ.com/polls and cast your votes. That'll do it. I'll see you guys next time.